Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, seller sessions, all the way from San Diego to. Are you in Africa right now, Cara?
I'm in Lanzarote in Spain, which is
Ah,
close to Africa. Actually, it's
I thought
closer
it
to
was.
Africa.
I thought it was like off of what is it?
It is. It's
West
off of
Africa?
like past Morocco, down past this. I'm opposite Sahara.
Nice. Yeah, it's off the coast of West Africa, administered by Spain. I looked it up.
Get you, your little research demon, you.
You know what? When I did, have you ever done your Colby score? KOLBE? You must have.
No, I don't think so.
You have to do it. It's like one of those. It's
Oh, it's like
deeper.
a personality thing.
Yeah, but it's a little deeper than that. Usually, people use it for when they hire someone, they want to see like
Okay.
what their work
Oh, I love
personality is.
personality tests. I'm always doing those.
You will love this one. Like I've used it for some of my employees, and it's really good because it shows you what kind of work personality do you have and what are some things that you're into. And when you said I'm a little researcher, so they're going to give you four numbers, and the first one, it shows you like how high on the researcher part you are. So I'm a 6. I guess I kind of am.
I'm probably like on a 1.
Really? Well, somebody that will have like a 9, it's somebody that's like a bookworm. You find them in a library, they never get out. That's all they do. So I'm kind of like a good mix of a researcher.
To be fair, I do like to do my research. So actually, like even coming to this hotel. Are you still there? Hold on.
Yeah. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
Hold on.
I'm good.
Yeah, you still there?
I am still here.
Are you still there? Can you hear me all right?
I am. Can you hear us?
Ah!
Cara? I know Cara is
I can see you.
Okay, well, do you speak sign language?
You're moving very slowly. Hold on. Let me see if I can shut other things down. Hold on. Let me see if that will work. Honestly, this is the problem with working when you're like on holiday. Hang on just one moment, please, caller. Right, hold on. Let me just shut that down. Shut down.
Can't wait to see you as well. I'm very excited for Branded by Women and Seller Sessions in May. For those of you who haven't had
a chance to play
your ticket. Yes. Can you? Everything good?
Oh, for goodness sake. Honestly, I hate technology.
You're so funny.
Right. Can you hear me okay? I can't hear you for some reason. Hold on. Let me just check my volume. Right.
No worries. We got time.
I can't hear you. This
Do you
is really annoying.
Log back out and log back in.
Let me check. Right, I've got my mic working. Everything says it's working.
No worries.
Log back in. Okay, I'm going back in.
Well, for those listening, happy Valentine's Day. Today is February 14, and we are here live with Seller Sessions. My last 2 sessions have been recorded because I was traveling, but I am here today. I'm very excited to talk to Miss Cara, and until she logs back in, let's see. Can you hear us now?
I can hear you perfectly now.
Amazing. No worries. I know you're in vacation, and I really appreciate you giving us this time of the day. I know you're a busy woman, but it's
but you know what? This is one of the wonderful things about running an Amazon business and running a business like I do. It's not necessarily just all Amazon, but running a brand means that I literally just went on Saturday. I said to my daughter, right, come on, let's go. She was like, oh, I want to get some sunshine. And I was like, oh, you don't want to go with boring old mummy, do you? And boring old daddy. And she was like, oh, no, actually I would. So I was like, okay. And then boring old daddy couldn't go. So basically I was like, right. So I booked flights and that was it. Booked a hotel. We're here from Monday to Thursday and I go back home on Thursday. And that's the amazing thing is that I can, and actually I've got a team of people who are all getting on with all their work while I'm away, and they actually prefer it if I don't actually get involved.
And they probably love it. You love it. Everybody's happy. You get to have some sunshine, and everyone.
And I love sunshine.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. But are you not coming to Prosper?
I can't because I'm in Dubai. So I know it's a dreadful situation, but I was in an awards ceremony called the Cartier Women's Initiative Awards back in 2011, and it's sponsored by Cartier, as in Cartier, Gucci, blah blah. And I was one of 1,600 people from across the globe who entered the awards. So I always say to people, enter these awards, like, because you never know. And I was one of 4 finalists for the whole of Europe.
Oh my God.
And I nearly won. In fact, the judges told me that I nearly won. But basically I didn't. But they're doing a reunion and they're paying for us all to fly back out. Like, we're all flying to Dubai. There's going to be a couple of hundred women. I know what it. Hold on. I'm just going to hold on just briefly. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, hold on. I'm just going to shut my alarm down. That's what's causing the problem, because I set an alarm. I've got 3 alarms for you. Hold on. Let me just turn them all off. Hold on.
I love it.
All off.
You got 3 alarms to be with us today for Seller Sessions.
We should be okay now, because I've got these alarms coming up, like 3:20, 3:45, 3:05.
I know you really wanted to be here. I so appreciate that.
I can't hear you again. Right, I'm gonna log back in.
No worries.
Sorry.
No worries.
I'm gonna log back in.
Sorry for the difficulties, guys, but we're almost there. We got the beautiful Cara all the way from West Africa and of Spain, as she says it. It's good to be with you today on Valentine's Day. It's so beautiful here in San Diego. For those who have not visited San Diego, I welcome all of you to come see us here. There she is again. Okay, we're good now?
Right, we should be fine, because there's no more Isabella alarms going off. And I think that's what is actually causing the problems. And
so
I'm on 5G.
The problems.
I've got you're causing the problems. And I've got 5G and I've got all the signals. So it should be absolutely fine.
I love it. No, I am so glad. And I love that you touched on the fact that you're able to do this because you do have an Amazon brand. And I mean, I've known you for a few years now, and I've always been extremely inspired, not only by your beauty and your wisdom and all of this, but how determined you are to keep a business running, be a mom, and you're just doing so many beautiful things. And you also are teaching now. Tell me a little bit about that, because we haven't caught up in a long time.
So I did teach for a while, but the problem was people didn't do what I told them to do, and so I got annoyed. So I've actually
surprise.
Do you know what I mean? The problem is it's hard, right?
Yeah.
It's hard. And so people don't want to do the hard stuff. They just want to be given like a soft, fluffy solution that's going to be all lovely and make them loads of money. Well, I can tell you from having been 12 years in business now, and you see, one of the reasons why I value my time with my daughter so much now is because when she was a baby, that's when I started my business, and I worked like a dog. And, I didn't spend as much time with her as I say inverted commas should. But actually, I did what I had to do in order to build a successful business. But now the business is successful. And actually, I can go on holiday, and my team prefer it if I'm on holiday, because then I don't get in the way and annoy them by going, can you do this? And actually, I'd rather you did that. But the thing is now is that, like, she's over the next 4 years, she's going to be doing a lot of stuff that's really important for her future, because she's 14. Yeah. And it's really, really important that I'm there for her and I'm focused on her, not on other things. So I had a conversation the other day. I tell you, it's hysterical. I have these conversations, and they generally tend to be with men. It's interesting, right? So I have these conversations with men where I was at the event in, I think did you come over to London for the event at the, I think,
for Seller Sessions. I was there for Seller Sessions.
Yeah. So I went there, and I went for the dinner, and then I went for another one as well. And there was this guy there, and he was like, oh, well, you're running your business. And I said, yeah, I'm just running it. And like, I've got my daughter, and actually I'm not planning on doing like that much growth the next few years as such. Right. And he was like, oh, it's a lifestyle business. I said, well, if you call 7 figures and earning like 6 figures a lifestyle, then yeah, it's a good one. Thanks very much, Mr. Patronizing so-and-so. And and actually and I had this conversation with somebody the other day. I got thrown out of an Amazon FBA group because this guy was going around and he was like, oh, well, you haven't been in the group. And I was like, well, I don't know what the group's doing. So I went in and had a look. And to be fair, it was a lot of newbies. And I said, okay, look, I'll be really honest here. I'm a 7-figure seller. I've been in it for 12 years. If you think that I'm suitable, I'll stay in the group. I will take no offense whatsoever. And he was like, oh, well, I take like newbies like 10K, and I take people from 10K to 100K. And then and I'm like, okay. And I said, well, I'm not that interested in massively growing at the moment. He was like, well, why don't you want to make more money? And I said, because if I make more money, I have to compromise on everything else and the things that are actually important to me right now.
Right. And you already spent a chunk of your daughter's years in the beginning making sure that the business is running. And this is
100%.
Exactly. When we things.
Oh, you're breaking up. You're breaking up, Isabella. I can't hear you. I'm going to log back in because I can't hear you.
Also, I'm that are it just it takes work than just showing up for a job. So it's so great to have Cara here with us today. Once she's able to make contact with us from her beautiful destination, I just keep talking until you come back on, Cara.
Dude, I'm gonna if I lose you, I'm just gonna come out and then I'm gonna come straight back in.
You keep coming back. No, I was just saying, like it's hard work, Cara. It's not easy being a mom and running a business. And you're right, going from 7 figures to 8 figures, it's a completely different situation, and you need to hire more people, you need to be more involved. And like you said, your daughter's 14 now, and you make enough right now that you're able to still enjoy the beauties that life can offer, but also be there for her. So
Absolutely.
How is she doing?
And you know what? If I was working in a corporate, I wouldn't be able to do this. I wouldn't be able to earn anywhere near I've got friends of mine who earn what I earn, and they are owned by the balls by the business that pays them. And I don't have to ask anyone when I do anything. I don't. If I decide I'm disappearing off, I'm like, I'm ever so sorry, I'm not available for calls this week. I'm off. And it gives you the freedom, and that's one of the reasons why this lifestyle is so attractive, I think, really generally to a lot of people, because it can give them financial freedom, it can give them physical freedom, it can give you mental freedom, it can give you a lot of things.
Yeah. And it is definitely hard work, but it's like, working for corporate and having your own business, they're both hard. It's just a matter of choosing your hard, because
Correct.
you have to do it anyway.
Yeah, and I've got friends of mine who literally, like I say, earn the same level that I do, but they're like literally on planes all the time. They never see their families, but they're earning a really good wage. They're getting a pension paid for, blah, blah, blah. But whereas I'm earning probably equivalent, I'm still getting the pension because I'm putting that in. That's part of my plan. I'm paying my daughter as part of the business. So she's getting money like for her future as well, which whether it's school fees, university fees, first deposit on a house or whatever. But I actually, if I decide I don't want to work today, I don't have to work today.
Oh, isn't that the beauty of working from wherever you want, from an iPad right now, right? That's where you're coming
iPhone. This is an iPhone.
Oh, this is the iPhone. You see, thank God for Apple. And Apple stock, I was lucky enough to get in quite early. I don't know, it's been maybe 10 years, maybe more, when I first bought my first stock, and it was an Apple stock. And I was like, people are like, oh my God, you're doing so well in stocks. Like, how do you do it? I'm like, well, I look at the things that I use, kind of like
absolutely.
Amazon, right? And
that's the same for Amazon businesses. One of the things I always say to people, if you're going to try and invest money in any business, right, whether it's an Amazon business or a Shopify business or whatever you want to call it business, do something you're passionate about, do something you're interested in, right? Because it always makes it easier. Like, if you're doing something you don't really enjoy and you don't really like and you don't really understand why people would buy it, what the hell are you doing in it?
Yep. Yeah. And I love this because I know that's how you started SnoozeShade. You saw, you had your brand new baby, and you were like, this is a product that does not exist. Let me create it. And this is what the beauty of entrepreneurism is like. You see something that's not on the market, and you create it, and you've done extremely well. SnoozeShade.
Yeah, well, a lot of that is about brand building. It was really funny. Yeah. I think I got into a bit of a mini argument with somebody on, I think it was the Helium 10 Facebook page, because they were doing what I call negative Nelly.
Well, you got get kicked out of all the groups. I love it.
But actually, I'm just going to move inside because there's music from outside and it's a little bit too noisy. Hold on, I'm just going to go inside because the holiday music is too much. I got into this argument with this, well, not argument, I got into a discussion, I should say, with somebody, because the fact they were being all very negative about Amazon, it's saturated market, it's if you go into any business, right, you could go in and do car MOTs, you could be a restaurant, you could be whatever business you choose. If you go in with a negative mindset, you will get a negative result. Okay. But also, if you're not doing something you're interested in, because for me, I know there are a lot of people out there who are data crunchers, right? So I know a lot of people, as we both do, they are nerds said with love, because I wish I was more of a nerd, right? I wish I understood the numbers in that way. I don't understand the numbers in that way. So what I've got to do is I've got to make sure that I'm running products that actually mean something to me, that I can understand why someone would buy them. And when people go into it just for the money, unfortunately, what then happens is they don't necessarily choose a product that they might possibly buy themselves or they might need themselves. And therefore, when it doesn't sell, they're like, oh, well, that didn't work.
And then they just write off Amazon, like Amazon does not work.
Blame Amazon for everything, Yeah. And I mean, this is the other thing I have a real bugbear about, because, I started my business 12 years ago. And I worked in what I call real retail, right? I actually worked on the launch of Amazon in the UK back in '99. So when it was a book warehouse in Slough, right? I launched eBay as well, also in 1999. These were big launches, and I launched online grocery shopping for a huge retailer in the UK called Tesco. And I saw this evolution of shopping online, and I could see the future. Having said that, I've ended up waiting. When did I launch? So I launched 2010. So it's 11 years later that I actually launched my business, and I launched it into bricks and mortar stores. So this was not when I launched in 2010, Amazon wasn't the big beast that it is now.
Yeah.
And so, it's a very different marketplace. But the thing is, there's always a place for a good product, always, right? If you deliver something that gives customers a good feeling, a good result, a product that does what it says, like I say, does what it says on the tin, then you're always going to have a good result. But if you choose a product you don't care about, you're doing it for the numbers, and then it doesn't work, well, that's probably why it hasn't worked.
Yeah. How were you able to create your product to perfection? Was it perfect the first try, or it took a while to get it?
Oh my God. Oh my God. It was hideous. I mean, I took it to a trade show and I had a prototype, okay, whereby I'd still been testing it in the shops. Okay. So I'd gone, there was a local baby retailer called Mothercare, no longer exists. Basically I used to take my product into there and I used to try it on all the strollers, and I'd be testing it. So Holly would be creating havoc, running around. I'd be like, yes, off you go, darling, go and play with all the toys. and then I was testing it on all the prams. And when I actually took it to the trade show, I realized I actually needed another 2 straps that were in the middle of the product. So I hand sewed, I cut off 2 straps from another prototype and hand sewed them onto the middle of the product that I was showing at this show. Anyway, I'm showing the retailers. I'm like, oh my goodness, super high quality. It's going to be amazing. Anyway, as I did, like the straps pinging off, I'm like, oh yeah, apart from that one, like, so one of the things I always say to people is it doesn't have to be perfect, but you do have to start with something, right? Start with something, then start learning what makes your customers go yay and what makes your customers go nay. Right. And then it's a matter of like, wheeling and dealing and like negotiating that path. I had the most hideous packaging in the world. I look at it now and I want to hurl because it looks awful. But you know what? Actually, funnily enough, at the time, it was actually really different. So it stood out, from other products of a similar in the baby product marketplace. Everything was pale blue and pale pink and neutral colors. Mine was fluorescent green and black, and people were like, oh my God, what is this? Yeah. And so sometimes doing things, this is what I mean about like creating a brand doesn't have to be about doing a product it could be the same product as everyone else is selling, but give it a personality, give it something that makes it stand out, whether it's donating like money to a charity like that people would empathize with, or whether it's packaging it in a different way that makes it more convenient for consumers, or whatever it is. Think of your customer. Stop thinking about you as the seller. That's what I always say. And stop counting the pennies, because these little touches cost extra money, okay? And if you want to make more money, you have to spend a little bit more money. So don't be like, I'm just going to send it in a white cardboard box, because in which case you haven't really got a brand, right? You've just got a name that you're using to put on a product. But I mean, I brand everything. So the product's branded. I have beautiful packaging now that's environmentally friendly. But it's only just come on in the last like 2 years.
I love it. Yeah. I know it's so good that you're walking us through this, because I want people to understand. And I know this is an Amazon show, and we got a lot of guests, and we keep reinforcing this idea that it's very important to create the brand rather than just a store. And I think that's what people don't understand. And I love the fact that you said in the beginning, I created the product, I saw a need for it, and it wasn't perfect. I love that, because people most of the time they do not want to start a brand because they don't think it's perfect, and it's completely fine. It's completely fine, because you cannot get perfect if you don't go through those steps, and people don't want to go through the steps.
I've been in business for 12 years, and I would say that I'm only really finally happy with how my brand looks and feels now. And that's because I had a complete rebrand in 2020, just around the time when COVID hit. I just forked out tens of thousands of dollars on a rebrand, which I then ended up paying back in very small installments. But it was all fine in the end. But but the thing is that you don't have to be perfect, but you do have to have a passion, and you do have to make your customers feel like you actually care about them, because that's definitely, regardless of what my products look like, that's what my customers always know. I believe that if they have a problem, they know they can always come to us. And I get cross with them. I like when they send messages, we send all the automated messages saying, and actually I get the best response from my refunds, right? Mm-hmm. Because actually people don't respond to the review ones, right? But I send a really, what I call a boring email, which is literally just a little email that just says, hi there, just wondering why you got a refund, because it's really important to me, about customer service, and I want to make sure there's nothing wrong that I need to address, blah, blah, blah. And I get more responses to those. And then people say things like, oh, well, my child didn't like it. But then I'm like, okay, well, how old are they? Oh, they're like 8 months old. Well, you bought the 0 to 6 month old. Have you tried the 6 months? So you can actually use that as an opportunity to A, like understand what your customer wants, and B, to like actually get them to buy the right product. Because sometimes, with all the best will in the world, doesn't matter how much I steer people towards these products for 0 to 6 months and these products for 6 months plus, they don't read it, right? So then they buy the wrong product, they send it back, and then I've got an opportunity to go back, and we get really, really good response rates from that. And that's something I think, again, people veer away from understanding what the negatives are in their business, but those negatives are actually your biggest positives.
I love that. And it's so important that you said that, because you mentioned in the beginning, you said you want to ask your customers what do they like and what do they not like about the product. But until your product starts selling, how did you do that? How did you get this important feedback? Were you just asking your friends?
Well, so when I very first started, I mean, before I even launched the product, I put messages out on internet forums and things. I mean, remember, this is 12 years ago. Yeah. So, even Facebook wasn't as, I don't think Facebook was there as much, it just wasn't like, and so I used, there was like a mum's one. It was called Mumsnet. Net Mums in the UK. And I put out and I said, this is a product I'm thinking of doing. Does anyone think this is a good idea? I mean, I actually had someone who copied my product before I even launched it.
Oh my God. Just from posting it.
Oh, just from posting. And then they literally copied my product. And I was mortified because I was like, oh my God, how does this happen? How does someone even copy something before you've even launched it? But as it turned out, then I went to the trade show with the pinging straps. And then I got some major retailers involved, and actually they just disappeared because I think they were scared. But I still have, this is the other thing, when people say about like, oh, it's a saturated market, I've got people chasing my tail constantly, right? Because I do best-selling products, and there's probably now at the moment, there's probably about 15 Chinese companies, and I know they're Chinese because I've done all the research into them, and they're copying what I'm doing, and they're doing it at like a third or less of the price. But what they're not doing and what they can't do is they can't have all the safety that I have. They can't have the quality. They don't have the reviews. They don't have the awards. They don't have and this is what I mean about, building things up. And it takes time, regardless of whether it's an Amazon business or, as I say, a restaurant or whatever else you might want to do. These things take time. I mean, some people, we see the unicorns, right? Yeah. So we see, like, people always say, for example, like you look at people like Harrison Ford, the actor, he didn't get his first film role until he was in his 50s. But do you think that he wasn't acting prior to that? Of course he was. Morgan Freeman is another one. There are loads of actors out there, and they have their moment in the sun where they're like super, super famous, and then they carry on being famous. But all businesses are like that. And actually, yes, we see like the anchors, and we see all the ones who sell within a 3-year exit plan, etc. And that's fantastic. Don't get me wrong, right? I'm not dissing that at all. And if that's your plan, then you go for it. But for normal people, actually, who maybe want to replace an income that they currently have with a corporate job or doing something that maybe they don't love. Actually, this is one of the other things I always say to people, and this is why I have a real issue with people when they patronize me about like my lifestyle choice, because actually, do you need to earn 7 figures? Do you need to turn over 7 figures to make the money that you're actually earning currently? Probably not. So why are you chasing somebody else's dream? Do what you want to do to the level you need to do it at. And then, if you're getting to 6 figures and stuff and you want to grow it some more, then grow it some more. But stop all this. You'll never see me posing, as you well know. I do my toe shots by the pool, don't I? You've seen my toe shots are famous, actually. And wherever I go, it's always.
You should NFT those, Cara.
Do you know what? I actually should, because I've been doing them. I actually found a photo from 1997 when I was backpacking, where I did a toe shot in Thailand. So I think I should.
That's your signature move, Cara's toes. I think
exactly.
A great collection from Cara Sayer. Toes collection throughout the years, and then every month you come up with a new collection.
I'll bring out a new one. I've got loads coming up. I've got the Lanzarote edition. I've got the Dubai edition coming up. I'm going to Belfast. I mean, that'll be a bit colder, so I might have boots on then. But
or you may have socks. You never know. But I love NFTs. We could talk about those all day. But it's so amazing, Cara, because and I don't know if people understand, but you're saying so many amazing things, and I know it's mixed in with other things. But one, consistency, what I get from you, consistency. 2,
and resilience.
Do not be scared, because yes, there are always going to be products, unless you come up with like the most unique idea, there will be,
but even then they're going to copy it.
Exactly. And it's fine because like you said, even before you launched yours, just by talking about it, somebody else copied it. Yeah, they're not here now. One, because they really weren't passionate about the product. They just saw an idea, they saw that it's gonna work and it can make money. But if you're not passionate enough, you're gonna drop off because there's so many difficulties coming. And like you said, in the beginning, you had to add your straps manually, sew them in, where other brands would have never done that. One, they wouldn't think of that because it wasn't their idea. So I don't want people to get discouraged when they see other people stealing their ideas. Trust me, even like having my service, many people have copied me, and it's fine, honestly, because
but you know what?
competition exists, but they can never copy you and your personality and who you are.
They will never copy you, right? That's the one thing. And it doesn't matter. And they'll never copy the way you will do something. This is the one thing I try and inspire in people a feeling of abundance versus scarcity, right? And this is why you get the negative Nellies, right, in the Amazon world, because they come with it from scarcity. They're looking at the fact that there are 30 people doing garlic crushers. I tell you what, if I launched a garlic crusher tomorrow, it would be an amazing garlic crusher, and it would have a story, and it would have a thing going on. There would be something different about it. There would be, do you know what? There would just be something, because I would be doing it. And that's the difference, right? Yeah. And so, like, people can do your service as well, but they'll never do it the way you do it, because you do it your way. And this is what people have to understand. Also, there is plenty of room in the market, right? One of the things that I've learned to understand, because I don't just move in Amazon entrepreneurial circles, I move in all sorts of weird and wonderful entrepreneurial circles, right? I move in like coaches and service providers and all sorts of stuff. And one of the things you realize is that for every 1,000 or every 10 people, right, that follow one person, there'll be 10 people that follow someone else, 10 people that follow someone else, 100 people that follow someone else. And then what they'll do as well is they'll go from one person to the other, because they've got what they need out of person A. Then they'll go to person B. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with person A or anything better about person B. It just means they're doing stuff differently, which means that person A makes the set money out of the person B makes some money out of that person. Let's all collaborate, let's all share a bit more, and let's stop being so competitive and actually start thinking about working together. I mean, I do a lot of collaborations, like with other baby brands and other businesses, because I don't care. I don't have that attitude, which is, oh, well, I couldn't possibly have. I mean, this is why I'm unusual, I know, in the Amazon world, because I actually talk about my brand, because so many people I know, really close friends, who will never even tell me what they sell.
I see that, and it's still happening, but it's so interesting because those who are like 7, 8, and even higher figures, they're usually more open about talking about their brand. And I don't know, maybe they feel that they already established it in a sense, but really I don't see a problem if people want to copy people's product.
Does Nike not talk about itself? Go, like, honestly, all these big brands, like, if you've got a good brand, you've got a good brand. If you're not talking about your brand, it's because you're scared, because you don't really believe you've got something like substantial, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, that's probably one of the reasons. And the second, just like you said, people copying other people's products. But honestly, it doesn't matter. With an Amazon search, you can see everything that's selling. You can see what's best selling that day. So it's not like people are looking.
It's not a secret.
Exactly. It's definitely not a secret. And what do you think about somebody that's brand new, and they're listening to this and they're like, wow, Cara made it, maybe I can do it? Like, what are some things that you would do today to launch a product on Amazon?
Okay, so I mean, if I was to launch a product today now, I would launch it on Amazon. I wouldn't bother. I've actually pulled away from all of the retailers, because I was just going to say, that's one of the other things. Keep me on track, Isabella, because I will wander off.
No, I love it. I love how you think. So I don't mind. You go wherever you want to go.
But one of the things that makes me cross about people who sell on Amazon is how ungrateful they are in terms of the margins they make. Because I can assure you, if you sell to a bricks and mortar retailer, right, you think that Amazon has just started asking for insurance. Okay, if you sell over $10,000, are you kidding me? I remember signing up for, I think it was Bye Bye Baby in the States, which is like a massive baby chain. Right. Their contracts alone would probably have killed a forest in the Amazon. Okay. And then the liability that you needed, and the software you needed, and then the margin you got. I mean, yes, you were in Bye Bye Baby, but actually, is it really worth it? So that's one of the reasons I've pulled out. Like in the UK, I was in the equivalent of the Bye Bye Babies, etc. And I've pulled out of all of the retail, and I now only sell via my own websites. I have a few select retailers that I work with because I like them. And then I sell on Amazon, and that's it. And I think that's the other thing, is that, you know, you just got to realize that actually Amazon's not that bad. I know we all like to diss it all the time, and don't get me wrong, I still have my white, like I always call it my white Seller Street, like my white hair that I have, that's purely created by Seller Central. But nonetheless, you know what, there are other retailers you could work with who are a lot worse. They really, really are. Now, what was the one before I said that? What were you asking me about? Because
actually, I like where this is going, because it's so important to realize, and I see this a lot, Cara. You know, new sellers coming in, and even age sellers. You know, they'll you know, even with my service, they're like, "Wow, this cost $1,000, you know, or $2,000 or whatever it was." When you know, I rank products, and you know what I mean, I wouldn't say this today, but it would make me think like, oh my God, for you to sell this product in a physical store, it would cost you so much. Marketing would cost you so much.
PR, you know, everything else that you've got to do. And this is the other thing that people forget, is that, you know, one of the reasons your products might not be selling on Amazon is because actually you haven't created any kind of buzz around them, right?
Exactly.
And if you're going to create, like, if it's a restaurant, do you not tell everyone in the local area that you've opened a restaurant? You know, do you not tell your local newspapers? Do you not tell your local, like, review, like, websites? Do you, you know, you've just got to go back to, I mean, it was funny, I can't remember, it was another Facebook place that I was on, and somebody was saying about, you know, marketing and how do they get to, like, journalists, because they'd seen these, like, you know, I know what it was, they were talking about gift guides, right? And I'm like, and I basically said, look, my background is PR, so public relations. And I was like, you have to go back to good old fashioned public relations, which is that, you know, you're not necessarily going to pay for it, but you have to get to know the journalists. You have to understand what it is they're interested in. You have to understand why your product would be of interest to them, and actually also understand that your product might not be of interest to them. Okay. And not be offended by that, and not stalk them and annoy them because of the fact that actually somebody who writes about motor vehicles is never going to cover a baby product, for example. You know, and people just don't get it sometimes.
Yeah. Understanding your niche is very important.
Yeah. And then also, you know, just like making sure, like, maybe, you know, get out there, talk to influencers. I don't pay for any influencer work that we do. We are now, the brand is building to a point where we now have very large influencers coming to us wanting the product, which is fantastic. But I still on a regular basis target smaller influencers, because the great thing about the smaller influencers is that they tend to have little gangs of people that they hang out with, right? And so what happens is, once one, it's a bit like, you know, I know this particularly for mums, but it's the same for people who are interested in fashion, people who are interested in homeware, people who are vegan, people who've got cats, you know, whatever it is, they all hang out in little groups. And what happens is, once one person gets a product that works and that they love, they start talking about it. And so all their friends then start, oh, that looks interesting. And then all their friends start approaching the brand saying, can I try it? Can I try it? And so, you know, one of the things I've done over the last couple of years, I mean, COVID has been a real solidifier in that respect, is we've probably got several hundred baby sleep consultants now, who basically all have, like, either a mixture of come to us or we've gone to them, and then we give them affiliate codes, and they share it, so they say their followers save money, they make money. We offer to either give the money to them or we give it to charity, you know, depending on the type of person that we're talking to. But also just like little, you know, don't always be about, like, do you know what, I actually don't want Kim Kardashian to use my products, because actually I'm not really sure that she'd be a very good, like, example of someone who I think would want to use my product. I'd rather somebody who had 5,000-10,000 followers use my product, but actually got really excited about it genuinely, which is why when we get influencers approaching us and they want me to pay, I'm like, no, because if I have to pay for you to love my product, then you don't love my product. So therefore, that taints it. Do you know what I mean? It makes it not a genuine, and like, you know, I'm happy. You can earn money off the back of promoting my product. That's great, but you've got to love it. And that's the thing I think a lot of people miss out on.
Yeah. And a lot of people would say, I just want every influencer out there to post about my products. It's just like when you pick a product on Amazon, you can't just sell everything. You have to pick one. And it's the same thing with influencers. You want those who want you. And I think, again, this is so crucial and it's so important. And it's worth mentioning again, like, pick the ones that love your product, because those will be your biggest cheerleaders. And that's what you want. I mean, it's not bad paying for influencers.
Oh, no,
I've done it many times.
I've got a couple who've got a few million followers. I've got some who are like 500,000 plus. I've even had royalty use my products, right? Which is amazing. But if I'm really honest, the ones I love the most are the smaller ones who get really, really excited about it.
Exactly. And then, like you said, they have their own little cliques and they have their own little friends. This is why I think micro influencers are so important.
They're the way to go.
Exactly. Like most people say, well,
achievable. All you have to do is reach out to them in a really nice way. Be friendly. Be approachable. Say, look, I'm a new business. I'm starting. I've got these products. I love them because I think they're going to really help you. So stop selling. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is the problem. Is that, people try and sell their products to influencers. You don't need to sell them, but what you do need to do is you need to love your products and share the love. And if you share that love and also you're reaching out to them because you're like, actually, do you know what? Say, for example, it is a garlic crusher company, right? Well, say, for example, that person is constantly doing recipes that include garlic and you can see them chopping constantly, but you know that your garlic crusher is actually going to make a difference. Then make contact with them and say, hi there, look, I've seen your videos. Show them that you're actually paying attention. Give them some love. Do you know what I mean? Like, give them some attention, because this is the thing.
This is so simple. Why do you think more people don't do this? Do you think is it because they think it's time consuming, or they don't believe in their own product?
Because A, I don't think they necessarily believe in their own product. And B, I think, it's like, I don't know about you, I'm sure you get it, but like on LinkedIn, the number of people I get who literally they connect with me and then they sell, right? And I always say to people, like, let's go on a few dates first before we get married, right? Let's have a bit of a, like, don't try and marry me before I've even like met you. And this is what happens. And this is the same for whether you're reaching out to influencers or on LinkedIn or whatever it is. Say hi. Say, I've noticed, I also, one of the key things, and I think people don't realize this, and I know it's really basic for me, but like, actually you need to interact with people. So start commenting on their posts, like, as in like, oh, that was really funny, or that's so true, or, but don't even actually, that's too brief, like, actually interact with people. And then once you started interacting, you'll notice they'll probably, if you start genuinely, notice the genuinely start interacting with people, then they start interacting with you. So therefore, then when you then go and approach them about, oh, I've got this product, would you like to try it? They're warm, not cold. Whereas if you go in cold all the time, you're going to often get a cold response. Whereas if you warm them up, well, guess what? You get a bit of a warmer response.
And also be natural. I get a lot of messages, whether it's LinkedIn or Instagram, and they all look the same, Cara. They all the messages look the same. I'm like, why would you not take 30 seconds, a minute, and create your own personalized? And I love going back to what you said, when you send your customer that personalized email that I'm sure you put together in probably a few sentences that tells them exactly what do you want to share with them. It's not about using fancy words. It's like, is my message coming across, and is this feeling genuine? Would I love receiving something like this?
Speak English. I speak to people like I would speak to you. Like, you and I, we've had a bit of a chit chat before, like, this conversation comes up. You have a bit of a like, oh, ha, ha, la la, and that's the thing, and actually humor is one of the biggest, like, warming up things that you can do, really. But also show them that you've actually paid attention. So, for example, say you've got this garlic crusher. I'm going to go on about garlic crushers because but like, say, and you can say, oh, I saw you went on a picnic like a couple of weeks ago and it looked really beautiful. But you know what might have really helped was if you'd have had this product, and I'd be delighted to send you one. That's the difference between saying, hi there, I've got a garlic crusher. I'd like, I want to send you one.
Exactly. And yeah, hey, I don't know anything about you and I have no idea what your life is about, but you definitely need a garlic crasher. Here it is. Like, people need to get a little bit more, and it doesn't really take that much, Gary, if you think about it. But again, it comes down to maybe people not feeling confident enough to do it. Maybe they don't think their message is good enough. A lot of people are, procrastinators, and we all have so many issues, but it comes down to simplicity more times than not, because I think a lot of us tend to get caught up into, oh my god, this has to be perfect before I launch it, the messaging has to be perfect, but you cannot get perfect unless you started and you perfected on a way.
What in life, where in life have we got perfection? You name me one thing in anybody's life that's perfect.
I mean, you seem pretty perfect, but other than you, I think
a raging lush, and I've got an obsessive pose.
what I always loved about you, Cara, is like, I mean, you obviously you run a business and you have your own things going on, but you always kept such a positive vibe about you. And I know you go through ups and downs just like the rest of us, but keeping this positive attitude,
well, I do
I think it's so important.
I mean, I think that's one of the things I always do. I always share my negatives. Like, I don't know if you saw, I recently won a legal case that had been going on for 3 years. That really was like something that hung over my head for a long time. And I shared, like, at the time when it all kicked off 3 years ago, and then I've also shared recently. And I think it's really important to share the reality of running a business. Like, it's not all wonderful. And I mean, actually last year I was sort of in a bit of a funk. I think like 2 years of COVID, not being able to travel, not being able to see people, not being able to connect. I love to connect with people, which is why I'm so excited about Branded by Women and Seller Sessions, because we'll be able to see each other in person.
I love it. I know.
But that is really important to me, and that is one of the things that, especially because I run the business from home, from my kitchen table. I don't have a big office. I don't have I don't do all that. I have a big team, but we're all remote. We're all quite a close team, but we're all still remote. And I think it's really important that, you've got to value what you value, not what someone else values. Do you know what I mean? And, I value meeting people, connecting with people, and I really think it's so important. And I think I do it. I share. I'm definitely a glass half full, but I'm also realist, right? And I will always share the shit, always, because that shit will actually teach somebody more than all my positive stuff. Like, I don't even really, I mean, you know me, I don't really talk about the positive stuff, right? Like, I mean, our sales this year, they've gone through the fucking roof, excuse my French. And that's great, but that's not what I focus on. What I focus on, how can I improve it? What can I do that will make it better? How do I take what I do, and then I like to grow. I do like to grow. I just don't want to go to 8 figures.
Exactly.
And I might end up doing 8 figures, but it'll be an accident, and I'll probably sell at that point.
I was going to ask. I mean, what's next for SnoozeShade? Are you thinking of selling it, or you want to keep it for a few years while your daughter finishes school?
Exactly. So this guy poo-pooed me the other day because I said to him, well, actually, he said, well, are you afraid of making more money? Why don't you want to make more money? And I said, I didn't say I don't want to make more money. I said, I just don't want to necessarily push that growth, because I grow every year. I mean, literally the business hasn't not grown in every 12 years, right? Every year we've got growth, and it's healthy growth. It's solid growth as well. Right. And it's manageable. Right. Which means that, if I grow, I can manage it, and I'm not having to sit there worrying about it. Now, my daughter's 14. She's about to go through her GCSEs and her A levels, and then go to university, most likely. And I know me. This is the other thing. I think that you have to be very self-aware. And I think I am quite self-aware. But actually, I think I'm very self-aware. But one of the things I'm aware of is that, if I was to start a new venture or do something new, or even if I was to sell the business, because selling the business doesn't mean brushing your hands of it. It means I would then probably spend the next 3 years handing it over. If I did that now, I would be in it all the time. My focus would be on it, because I can't be any other way. I'm either in it or I'm not. And so at the moment, I'm just coasting, and I'm enjoying that coasting. And then when she goes to university, then watch out world, right? Because I may still well continue. I may not. I mean, I get offers to sell my business every week. Every aggregator out there pretty much has been in touch, and all of them are surprised when I just turn around and say, no, I'm not selling, and I'm not selling like at least for the next 3 or 4 years. And they're like, oh, but why not? Because, you know, I'm like, because I don't want to. And because my business will continue to grow for the next 3 or 4 years. And it's not going to suddenly disappear or devalue over the next few years. If anything, it just adds to the solidity of the brand.
Which is why they want to buy it, because they see what you see. I love that. But it's, you know, and you know, when people say, oh, why would you not want to make more money, to me just tells me that that specific person, and I don't know what the discussion that you had and with who, but just my thoughts on this is, you know, people that haven't done it, they don't know what it takes and the kind of effort. So of course everybody wants to be like, oh, I want to make 100 million, but not a lot of people will actually walk
100 million.
the walk.
I'm not making 100 million. I do 7 figures. I do a couple of million. I do 6 figures, very healthy profit, you know. And the thing is, right, is that I've done that work. I've done that. And this is the thing. It's not easy, right? It's not easy. It will never be easy. I don't ever believe that anybody who ever achieves anything successful has done that because it's easy. They haven't. But the thing is, what you see is you see the swan. You don't see the legs that are like kicking under the water all the time, you know? And the thing is that I've done the legs kicking, the body kicking, everything kicking under the water. My swan is swimming right now, and I'm enjoying the calm of the swan for the time being. And as and when I decide to do something else, I will. And no one will tell me when that happens. I will decide when that happens, and it'll be the right moment for me. But the thing is also is that, you know, actually it's not easy. Please, anyone watching this who's new, do not think that this is going to be easy. This is going to take, if you're doing it as a part-time hustle, it's going to take all your part-time. It's going to take a huge amount of energy. It's going to take a huge amount of effort. It's going to take a huge amount of money, right?
Exactly.
A product business is always going to eat your cash. You cannot, like, if you sell a service, you can sell your time, you can record courses and sell those. It is not the same. If you do not have a physical product to sell to someone, you do not have a business. So you're always going to have to invest in that physical, tangible product, and that costs cash.
Yep. And that's, you know, when after I started Rank Bell a few years in, you know, I would talk to sellers and they're like, wow, I don't understand. You're not selling on Amazon. Like, why would you not? And then I did. And I was like, I hate this. And it's so, you know, it's kind of weird for me to say because I'm a service provider, but I did not enjoy it. You know, it's meant for some people, not for everyone.
Every year I have an immense multi-6-figure debt hanging over my head, which is my manufacturing bill. That is before I even get out of bed, right? Yeah. Forget any of the Amazon fees, forget any of the marketing fees, forget anything else at all. I have that money sitting there waiting to be paid every year, right? But the difference is that now I'm confident. I mean, I put that risk in, and I put my basically effectively my life savings in back 12 years ago, and I did that. But I did that on the basis that I could afford to lose that money. I wouldn't have been happy, don't get me wrong, but I could have lost it, and I wouldn't have been like completely. But I've seen people remortgage houses and do all sorts of stuff, and that's fine if you've got the ultimate confidence in your business. But I'm very weirdly, I know for an entrepreneur, I'm very risk averse. I'm very risk averse, and I would not. I'd rather stack shelves in the local supermarket than remortgage my house.
I agree with you, and which is why you're so successful. I mean, you've had your share of difficulties that you went through, and I know like not only other Amazon sellers copying you, but other like big brands trying to rip you off, and you've gone through ups and downs.
Oh yeah. And I mean, you know, it is a roller coaster. It is a roller coaster. And, you know, every day is something new. And then, I mean, of course, Amazon then just throws a new curveball at you every 5 minutes where you're like, I thought everything was fine. And then, oh shit, you know, oh, pesticides. Oh, you know, whatever new stuff's going to come up, right? There's always going to be something.
Yeah.
But the point is that's just part of business where, I mean, if you're running a restaurant, you could suddenly have a competitor restaurant open up over the road,
And you
right?
can have 5 people quitting on the same day for you.
Have your whole entire waiting staff leave you at the same minute. There's always going to be shit you're going to have to deal with, right? That's
Yeah.
part of running a business, and
Yeah.
you've just got to get over it and just try. And I do think it takes a lot, and it's more stressful in the early days because you're not necessarily. Oh, look, COVID hit. God's sake. When that hit, I was literally sitting with a pencil and a piece of paper working out like the bare minimum that I needed to just keep the business afloat for a year. Because that was my mentality. I was like, how much is it going to cost me? I wasn't even thinking about paying for product, right? I was just thinking about people I need to keep like in jobs, the services, the things I needed to keep going. What could I get rid of? And actually, that's a really useful thing every now and then is every now and then have a cull, because I can guarantee you're probably paying for a lot of stuff you don't actually need. And that's a really good thing to do, is to go through your bank statements and your credit card statements every now and then and just get rid of the superfluous, because there will be things you've signed up for. I found that I'd been paying for a website hosting, which was about like $100 a month. I'd been paying for it for 2 years for a website I no longer had.
Oh my God.
Just stupid stuff like that. But like when you're running a business, you don't, and it's doing okay, you don't necessarily notice these things. So all of those little things are useful stuff. But just, it's really difficult you can't make someone resilient, I think, but you can try and have a resilient mindset, which is just remember you're not the only person going through it. Like whatever you're going through, someone else will have been through, I guarantee you.
And that's what I love, that we have all this Facebook, group communities and conferences and where people can meet.
Right, where you actually meet people and touch them and speak to them, and you realize that you're not alone.
Exactly. And that's really the best feeling. And that's what I love the Amazon community so much. And which is why I stayed in this service for so long. It's not only, the money making part, but actually you find people who you can relate to, who are entrepreneurs like you, have gone through the same problems as you. It might not be the exact one, but I want to end on this note, because you mentioned earlier about Amazon being an amazing place. And you know what? I have to agree. If you think about it, this platform, hosting, I think there are 9-10 million Amazon sellers now. I think last time I tracked, or 9.5. Cara, 9.5 million sellers on a platform.
It's ridiculous.
And a lot of people are still making money. A lot of people are making money, and it's through this platform that we all live. So we can't really complain all that much.
No, I'm the same. I'm high five. I've just realized, actually, I do hope people realize I am actually wearing a dress. I just realized I do look as if I'm topless.
Well, you have the little strings. If you had them on the side, then I would question it, and I wouldn't put it past you. Kidding. But
my word, you know me, Isabella.
Listen, as long as you have your beautiful necklace on, I think we're good. As long as you have at least one accessory. No, you are so wonderful. I'm so happy that you were able to come through from your beautiful vacation and share your wisdom. And I know we could talk for hours and hours, but I wanted to remind people that you will be speaking at Branded by Women. You are an entrepreneur. You are amazing. You're funny. You're lovable. You're the full package. And I couldn't be more grateful and honored and blessed to know you.
Oh, it's lovely to speak to you, my darling.
You are wonderful. Enjoy your vacation. How many more days you have there?
We've only got 2. We've only just arrived. So we arrived at, it's 5:00 in the evening now. And we arrived at the hotel at 12:30. And so we were just down playing bingo at 3:00, me and my daughter. And Beautiful. Then I'm like, no, I've got to go at like 20 to 4. I was like, I've got a call at 4. And they're like, but why have you got a call? I said, I've got a business call. And they were like, but you're on holiday. I went, yeah, but this is the only one I'm doing.
Oh, my wife, we really appreciate it. I know Danny does too, and Sharon, and we cannot wait to see you in May.
Big kisses to Darren and Sharon as well. Danny, Darren? Where do I get Darren from, Danny?
I will tell Danny. I know we all love you here, and I miss you, and I can't wait to see you. You have fun at your awards in Dubai. That sounds super bougie and fancy. Send us pictures from there. Sending you all the love to you and your daughter. And again, thank you so much for being with us today. Mwah.
Bye.
Bye.